Hey, welcome back to my channel where I post videos about my own experience as a late diagnosed autistic human being from France. It's been a week since my last update. Sorry if I look a bit disheveled and sweaty, and I'm covered in mosquito bites. Ignore all that. So in my last video, I talked about how I was struggling with the current weather, the heat and all that, and also I felt like I had too much mental load in the relationship with my partner, and it was causing me a lot of cognitive fatigue that was keeping me in burnout. And so I thought I'd give a little bit of an update. So I'm still very much struggling with the heat. In my last video, I also talked about wanting to set up a pool to help me regulate my body temperature and stuff. And let me tell you, it has been a process. You know, it's been 2 to 3 weeks, the whole process since we first started looking into it, doing research, making decisions on what to get, placing the orders, receiving everything, setting up, trials and errors, finally setting in like the final setup and everything. And it's a learning curve. We're learning as we go. None of us have experience with pools because we've never owned a pool. So yeah, it was just a lot. It was a lot. In the end, I'm glad that we did it. We haven't used it yet. We're gonna use it for the first time tonight. It's been a whole thing. Like, I got overwhelmed so many times during the whole process, like during the research, preparation, ordering of the stuff online. I got overwhelmed on multiple occasions. During the setup process, I got overwhelmed on multiple occasions. And when I say overwhelmed, I mean not full-blown meltdowns, but a lot of emotional struggle that meant that I was very irritable. I was not fun to be around at all. I had to stop on multiple occasions and take breaks and clear my mind and come back to it, and also let my partner make some of the decisions, because I got so much paralysis and my rigid thinking got in the way. Also, my perfectionistic tendencies of wanting to do it right. Ever since I've been a kid, I've always wanted to do things right. It's difficult for me to let go sometimes and accept that things are not going to be perfect or ideal or exactly the way that I had envisioned them. So yeah, I had some difficult moments with this pool, and honestly, I don't regret doing it, but had I known how much it would cost me physically and mentally and emotionally, I'm not sure I would have decided to go ahead with it, because it did cost a lot. And I'm hoping that the benefits over the next 3 months will outweigh that cost significantly. But it is set up now. Basically, I've spent the last 3 or 4 days trying to play with the water chemistry. It feels like I'm playing chemist. It's kind of fun, honestly. I'm like, you know how autistic people, even if they don't have a special interest in something, when they're doing a new thing, when they're learning a new skill or whatever, starting a new project, because we have those perfectionistic tendencies and those hyper-focus skills, we tend to become experts at things, okay? I don't have a special interest in pools, but I've become very knowledgeable in terms of water chemistry and pH levels and chlorine levels and what products you use and what are the safe levels and stuff. So that's been the fun part of the process, has been testing the water and adding different products, different chemicals to make the water clean and swimmable and comfortable to swim in and stuff like that. So we actually filled up the pool a few days ago, but it's only, the water levels are only good since last night, basically, because the tap water here is very hard, very harsh. So I already knew this was going to be a struggle. And of course you want to use chlorine to sanitize the water so it stays clean and you don't have algae and bacteria developing over a couple days, because if you don't use any chemicals, you're gonna have to change your water every few days, and that's like close to 4,000, like that's 4 tons of water in there. So you don't want to be changing that all the time because it's a hassle, and it's not like, that's a lot of water. That's a lot of water waste. So you're better off using chlorine. And so what I had to do was, like, we filled it up. I used something for like lime scale. So that was the first part of the treatment. And then every time you add a product, you've got to run the pump, because there's a pump. You've got to run the pump for a few hours. And then you test the water with those little strips that indicate chlorine levels, pH levels, and then alkalinity levels. Did the lime scale treatment, waited a few hours, added what's called chlorine shock. Sorry if you don't care about pools and stuff like that. I'm just going to info dump for a bit because I've learned all this knowledge. It has to go somewhere, okay? So you do what's called the chlorine shock, and that's like a high dose of chlorine that you add to water when it's new fresh water, you know. So that's like a high dose of chlorine that then has to stabilize over a few days, and sunlight, UV rays, make the chlorine vanish. So if you keep your pool in direct sunlight for a few hours, the chlorine levels will drop and stuff like that, and you want them to be in the safe range. So for the strips that I'm using, it has to be light purple, very light purple. If there's no coloring at all, it means there's no chlorine. If it's bright purple, like intense purple, it means there's too much chlorine, that kind of stuff. Then after the chlorine came the pH reducer. I had done enough research to know that I needed to buy a pH reducer because the pH of the tap water here is very high. So the pH levels and the alkalinity levels were so high. So on the strip, it has to be like a bright orange. If it goes pink, fuchsia, that kind of thing, it means it's too high. And it was like bright pink. And the alkalinity has to be a very light shade of blue, and it was like bright blue. So I used pH reducer. That was the third product that I used. And like you have to do a few adjustments, like uncover the pool, leave it in the sun, run the pump, then cover the pool and stuff like that. The pump has to run for 6 to 8 hours a day and stuff like that. There's just a lot of stuff to think about. And now that the chlorine levels have stabilized, they're in the okay range from the chlorine shock. Then you use a floating dispenser with regular chlorine in it, like a 20-gram tablet that you put in it, and it dissolves slowly over time, and that's supposed to maintain the chlorine levels, basically. The chlorine levels are finally in a safe zone, and the pH levels as well, they're still slightly too high. The alkalinity level is still too high, so I added more pH reducer this morning. Hopefully tonight, starting from 6 p.m, we should be able to use the pool for the first time. Fingers crossed. And the timing couldn't be more perfect because my partner is leaving tomorrow. I mentioned in my last video that he's going to be away for a week, which I'm both terrified and incredibly excited about. So my partner was out of a job for maybe 8 months. He got laid off shortly after we moved here, and he's been looking for a job ever since and struggling a lot to find a job because of the current economy. And he's got sort of low-grade burnout, you could call it, where like he's got the loss of skills and stuff like that. Just he's been struggling and not a lot of energy. So he finally found a new job, which was exciting. And this job means that every 3 months, so he works from home. Sorry again for the background noise. Just like last time, I'm filming this while my partner is cleaning the kitchen. So if you hear clattering of dishes and stuff, I'm sorry. Hope it's not too loud. So every 3 months, my partner's gonna go on trips with his work, basically like 1 week trips. So even though he's just started, actually he hasn't even started yet technically, because it's a whole administrative stuff, but he's only just been hired. He hasn't even started working yet. They were like, our next trip is this month, so if you want to come, and it's in New York. Okay, so my partner has been to New York a couple of times before, and so he was like, yeah, sure, I'll come, you know, like, so he's going to New York for a week, which I'm super excited for him, and I'm also super excited to have the house to myself for a week. But I'm also very anxious. I'm always anxious when my partner leaves without me. I'm always very anxious about something happening to him. The hardest moment is definitely when he like physically leaves the house. I always cry. I'm so scared of something happening to him and me not being there with him and stuff like that, that whenever he leaves, part of my brain is like, this might be the last time that you see him, that kind of thing. Like, I have a lot of anxiety around that. And this, on top of that, this is the further away he's ever been from me. We've never been away from each other over such a long distance. And for the first time, we're not going to be in the same time zone. It's going to be 6 hours earlier in the day where he is. He's going to be very far away from me, which scares me, because if anything happens with the house, with the pool, with the cats, with me, for some reason, he's not going to be able to come home in a pinch, you know? I'll have to handle whatever it is. Like, if there's an emergency with the cats, an emergency with the house, with the pool, if I have a health issue or something, an accident, I have to deal with it on my own. My partner is going to be halfway across the world. He's not going to be able to come back. And I have no one around here. I have no family, no one around that I know and trust. So it's always a little bit scary. The closest family that I have is my in-laws, and we have a difficult relationship at the moment, and they're not close. They live in Switzerland, so it's closer than New York, but still, like, if there's an emergency, they can't just come here. So I've been having a lot of anxiety about that. Like, last night I had a lot of anxiety because I was like, lately I've been struggling a lot towards the end of the day, because that's when I have the least amount of energy. When I don't have a lot of energy, you know, fatigue amplifies everything, and so it's harder to deal with sensory discomfort and emotional stuff towards the end of the day. So I've been getting like spikes of anxiety and low mood in the evenings, which have been pretty intense, like debilitating, you know, like I can't function anymore. And one of the things that helped me the most in those moments is to go to my partner and talk to him. And I've been really anxious about not being able to do that for a week. Like, having those really low moments at night and being alone in the house to deal with it, and not being able to talk to my partner easily because he'll be on a work trip halfway across the world with a 6-hour time difference. Like, so that's been anxiety inducing. But what calms me down and reassures me is the knowledge that every time we've been separated away from each other, every time I've been on my own for a few days to up to 2 weeks, was the longest that I was alone at home. It always went really well, and actually I had a blast. Like, the beginning is hard when he leaves and stuff, but then after I get used to it, once he's arrived at his destination safely and stuff, then my anxiety kind of subsides, and then I have a blast, because it's basically 1 week of uninterrupted hyper focus on my special interests. That's always good news for an autistic person. So I plan on filming lots of videos and editing lots of videos, because I'm going to be able to film in the middle of the day, in the middle of the living room, without being scared of bothering my partner or him walking in on me while I'm filming, or like having to stop because we have to figure out what to eat, or whatever. Just uninterrupted hyper focus on filming, editing, uploading my videos. I also plan on doing at least one movie marathon from one of my, favorite childhood movie franchises. I'm not sure which one yet, and I'm gonna be enjoying the pool because it's finally ready to use. So I know I'm gonna have a great time, and I'm probably not gonna struggle as much as I think I am, because that's always what happens. I always get super stressed out right before my partner leaves, and then within a day or two I'm like, this is great, this is a lot of fun. All of the alone time, not having to communicate and socialize or worry about someone else's needs or whatever. So I'm excited for it and terrified at the same time. Also, regarding the pool, I had a bit of a fright while we were setting up everything. We had already filled it up when I was looking up like weather predictions for the summer and stuff like that, and the fact that it's scary that we're already 12 degrees above the daily average high, and it's only June. Like, today is the first day of summer. So up until that point, we were still in spring, and the temperatures went above 35 degrees Celsius, which is absolutely insane. Those kinds of summers were like such an exceptional occurrence before that they were like big events, like the summer of 2003, like was, you know, and now it's almost every year. And the fact that it's already so freaking hot in June doesn't bode well. And it's very scary in terms of climate change and the kinds of temperatures that we're probably gonna get in July and August. In this region, in France, in the last few years, temperatures have gone above 40 degrees Celsius, with nights that don't drop below 25, which means that you don't get any relief. Because at least right now, at night, past like between midnight and 8 in the morning, you have an 8-hour window where like temperatures are cool. You know, you can open the window, let some fresh air in, like you're able to cool down a bit and sleep. When you're in a heat wave with temperatures above 40 degrees, you don't get any sort of relief at night, and that's what scares me the most. And so yeah, I was nervous about all that, and then I kind of had like a moment where I was like, wait, because I remembered that when I lived at my parents' house in a different region, but still, like I remember my parents talking about how in the summer when there's a heat wave, when it's very warm, the regions will basically say like it's a weather alert and you're not allowed to water your garden at all or outside of these hours, and you're not allowed to fill up your pool. And that memory came back to me, and I was like, wait, what if that's right now? That's what's happening right now. We're not aware of it. And so I started freaking out and think like, instead of checking on the official website, right, which is what I should have done, I assumed that since the temperatures were so freaking hot, the water restrictions must be on, especially since I asked ChatGPT and it was like, yes, there's an alert right now, etc. So I got super scared, because if you don't follow the rules and you water your garden between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. and you fill up your pool without getting an authorization from the town council or whatever, you can get a fine of up to 1,500 euros. And I got such a rush of anxiety of like, oh, we did something illegal. We were not allowed to fill up the pool. And like I got all worked up about it, and for about 24 hours while we were in the process of like preparing the pool and stuff, I was convinced that we were not going to be allowed, because the rules are you're not allowed to fill up your pool except if it's a new pool and you're filling it up for the first time and you get special authorization, which we didn't get. And then you're not allowed to either empty it or fill it back up, or like top up the water levels. So that's it for the summer, unless the alert is removed or whatever. But if the temperatures stay that hot, it's very unlikely that it's going to happen. So I was, for about 24 hours, I was in this mindset of the water that we put in the pool is what we're going to get for the whole summer, the whole next 3 months, we're not going to be able to top it up. So we have to avoid evaporation as much as possible. And that just was an added stress of like making sure that the water doesn't evaporate, and we need to create some kind of shade above the pool by installing a tarp or one of these camping things. It was a whole thing. Turns out the alert that ChatGPT told me about like didn't apply to us, because I did check the website, and the website was like, no, there are no water restrictions in this area. So this whole time I was stressing out about the neighbors reporting us and stuff like that, and us like an inspector coming to the house to check and like getting a fine and all that kind of stuff, when there isn't even a water restriction right now. So we were completely allowed to do that. So that was fun. So yeah, basically in the next week I have a lot of ideas of videos that I want to watch, that I want to film for my channel. I'm thinking of doing like a week in my life video vlog, where I film little snippets throughout this week that I'm going to be alone. That way I feel like you guys are going to be able to keep me company and make me feel less alone. And also, like, you know, it's going to be easier to film because I'll be on my own and stuff like that. So that's one idea that I have, is to like set up the camera while I'm making myself lunch, or even while I'm in the pool or whatever, and just share a few thoughts and stuff like that and make it into a week in my life vlog. That's one idea that I have. I would also like to film my sexuality video before the end of Pride Month. So I've got about 9 days left, because I filmed one for my gender identity and I wanted to film one for my sexuality, and I kind of put it off because I didn't really know how I wanted to, the things that I wanted to share and not share, and it made me a bit uncomfortable because it's tied to a lot of trauma and stuff. But I just watched Radish Raven's video this morning, which was really cool. I thought, you know what, this is like, all right, this makes me want to do it. So that's also something that I want to do. That's going to be probably a massive video, at least an hour-long video, because I have a lot to say. And another video that I want to film is an update / reaction to my special interest video that I filmed over a year ago. And it has to do with like the way that my views on J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter have changed since making that video. Because ever since I made it, I've been very uncomfortable with the way that I phrased things in that video, and I feel like I was caught up in the moment. I hadn't scripted anything, and I could have phrased things better. And so I made a post a few days ago about it, but I also want to make a whole video about it where I react to my old video, and like kind of update my views on things and the way that the whole Harry Potter situation has evolved these last few years, and like how I feel about it as someone who has a special interest in Harry Potter, that I still have, it hasn't stopped, and how I deal with this kind of this complicated situation, basically. So that's another video that I want to make. Those are the ones that I would like to make this week. But in terms of the other videos that I plan on making in the future, I would like to make one on my suspicions around hypermobile EDS and why I think that I might have it and whether or not I'll get diagnosed with it. And, you know, I have a bunch of other ideas talking about why I think my parents are undiagnosed autistic. Just, I have a lot of ideas for videos, okay? I'm not running out of ideas at all. But yeah, so that's going to be exciting. So this week has been, in a lot of ways, I'm doing a lot better than I was a week or a couple weeks ago. But in other ways, I'm still struggling just as much. Obviously, with the heat, like the weather and stuff, I'm still struggling a lot. Thankfully, the temperatures are going to go down a bit this week, so it should be more comfortable. But it's just the whole discomfort around summer, you know, like not only is it hot, but also you've got to apply sunscreen so you don't burn and get cancer later in life. But sunscreen is really is a sensory nightmare, and it's like instant overstimulation, and then you're sweating on top of that. So you break out in hives. Like I've always had sensitive skin. I get dermatitis very easily, which I currently have, obviously, because sunscreen, sweat, sunlight, you name it. Soon there's going to be chlorine as well. Like, you know, my skin is going through a lot. And then you're trying to deal with the heat, and you're trying to open your windows at night to get some fresh air in, but you also don't want your cats going outside because we don't let them out overnight. So trying to open the windows while making sure the cats don't go outside is a struggle. You can go outside, right, to get some fresh air. But if you do, you get absolutely destroyed by mosquitoes, okay? So then you do what? You apply some mosquito repellent or insect repellent, right? The smell is overstimulating, okay? I tried last night to apply one that's like supposed to be for sensitive skin, that's like made entirely of plants and there's no toxins in it or whatever. The smell was so overwhelming. I had to shower and put my pajamas that I was wearing in the laundry basket because the smell was too overwhelming. So that doesn't work. So I can't go outside because I'll get eaten by mosquitoes and I can't stand the mosquito repellent. So I stay inside where it's not possible to open the windows without the cats escaping. And this room that we sleep in, whenever the window is closed, I don't know why. I don't know if it's in the way that it was built, but as soon as the window is closed, it starts smelling of humidity and like stuffiness. I don't know how to describe it, like an old people's house, you know, an old person's house. So yeah, it's all these things, you know, it's not just the heat. It's all of these things that create this sense of overwhelm that can become very unbearable, especially when you don't have a lot of energy to deal with it all. Yesterday, my partner had to go into town to buy some things for his trip to New York, and I had the brilliant idea of coming with him because we've been, like in my last video, I was saying how I felt like my life was super boring and like I didn't feel alive and that I wanted to do more and leave the house more and stuff. And I actually did that this week. We went into town a few times. We did try the Thai restaurant that I wanted to try, which is amazing, twice actually. Between this and the pool, I've been feeling like my life is exciting again and like I'm actually doing stuff and like feeling alive, you know, so that's been great. But it's easy to overdo it, especially when you're still in burnout recovery. And yesterday I definitely overdid it. So my partner had to go into town. It was 35 degrees. What you do usually when it's that hot is that if you do have to leave the house, you go in the morning, ideally before 10 a.m. because by 10 a.m. it's already 28, 29, right? But because we've been going to bed later at night, we also wake up later in the mornings. So that wasn't possible. So we went there around 1 p.m. It wasn't a great idea. Obviously, the heat was a lot. We took an Uber there, but on the way home, we walked back. So we were walking in direct sunlight. My feet were killing me. And the heat, the sweat, the sunscreen, just everything. Plus the regular overstimulation that comes with going into town, eating at a restaurant, the background music, the talking to the waitress, going into a shop, again, all the smells, the sounds, the people. That's just the regular overstimulation from going into town, going shopping, that kind of thing. When you add 35-degree weather on top and everything that comes with it, the itchiness from the mosquito bites that you got the night before, it was a lot. It was a lot, and unsurprisingly, when we got home, I was exhausted. And then last night, I was very overwhelmed because, like I said, there's a cumulative effect, right? So you're already more tired in the evening than you are in the morning because you've had to experience the whole day, right? Without getting any sleep, because I don't nap or anything like that. If you add something like what I did yesterday, it gets too much. And so I could not deal with the nervous system dysregulation, the fatigue, it was a lot last night. And I was like, I shouldn't have come with my partner. I really wanted to leave the house and like have some lunch together and stuff, and like, you know, do like normal people things of going to a shop. Oh, and I have to show you what I got. That was like the highlight of my day. Like, my partner had to buy some new shoes and he was looking at clothes and stuff. Had to go to the pharmacy and all that. And while we were in the kind of shopping center, we came across a video game shop, so had to go in there. And also we walked by a toy shop. I'm still very much a child at heart, and I love toys and I love plushies and all kinds of things, so of course we had to go in there. I love those beanie, are they called Beanie Babies? Those little plushies with the wide eyes and stuff. I have a couple upstairs. They had a whole wall of them, okay? And I just fell in love and I had to get him or her. I don't know. It doesn't have a gender. It's called Miso, all right? Its birthday is on June 1st. That's what it said on the label. I just fell from the little toe beans, and it was just €8, okay? Not that I have to justify things, but I usually don't buy anything when I go shopping and stuff because I don't have the money, but like, and I think these are called Beanie Bellies, and I think it's because they have little beads in their bellies, which makes them squishy, crunchy, but like the little feet, I could not leave it there, you know. They had different cats, but this one caught my eye. So that's little Miso, new plushie added to my collection. And the other thing that I got, they have keychains. I didn't know that they made keychains. All right, I'll take it off to show you. Take it off my bag. Okay. I have the plushie of this I have the plushie version of this dragon, which is one of my all-time favorite plushies that I've ever owned. It's so good. I should have brought it down to show it to you, but I can't be bothered. And they had the keychain version of this dragon plushie. I love dragons. I could not get this. It goes so well in my bag. There's this little tassel, which is kind of like not necessary, but whatever. Isn't it gorgeous? I love it so much. So it lives on my backpack now. I was like a kid at Christmas yesterday in the toy shop. I was so excited. There was a lot of happy stimming and like some tears of joy as well, because I cry very easily, but not just when I'm sad or, you know, I cry very easily. Tears of joy as well. And these two absolutely made my day yesterday. But I definitely overdid it yesterday. Paid the price for it at night. I was really struggling last night, and I watched Courtney's latest video about burnout and depression, which wasn't the best idea because it was quite dark, which didn't help the way that I was feeling. That's the thing is that I've realized is that when I'm in those moments of overwhelm, I often don't know how to help myself, what I need or what is good for me in the moment and what I should avoid. And it's like my logical brain doesn't work well. So I make choices that are not great for me in those moments, and I also struggle with problem solving and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that just makes it more difficult, which is also why my partner is of great help in those moments, because he'll be the one like, oh, you should do this should help, and he's gonna go get it for me, and then it does help. But in the moment, I can't always think, oh, this could help me, and then go get it. You know, I don't always have what it takes because my brain power is taken up by the overwhelm. Does that make sense? So today I was like, today I'm not doing anything. I'm not leaving the house. I'm staying indoors as much as possible. And tonight we're gonna try the pool for the first time, so I'm very excited about that. Something else that's been great this week is, in my last video I talked about how my partner and I were trying to find ways to distribute the workload better between us, because I felt like I was doing more of the mental load and my partner was doing more of the physical load. That was a lot for me cognitively, and it was a lot for him physically. And so I mentioned that we were trying the Reminders app, and I was trying to, I was optimistic, but I had my reservations, because we have tried in the past to solve this problem. It never worked. So I was trying not to get my hopes up too much. But after about a week of using it, I'm happy to say that it does work, and it does feel like the workload is more balanced between us, and I was able to offload a lot of stuff out of my head into the app. It does feel like I'm not the only one having to keep all of that in my head and be the one thinking about all the things that have to be done, and reminding my partner about the things that have to be done, and making sure that he does them and stuff. The Reminders app works really well for his ADHD brain, because basically, if you're not familiar with it, it's on iPhone. You can customize your list. Like, it's very customizable. You can do a lot with it. So basically, we add all of the chores that have to be done around the house for the cats, like everything. And then we add the frequency. So is it daily? Is it every 2 days? Once a week? Once a month? Once a year? We can assign tasks. So this task you do, this task I do, or this task we don't assign, and whoever has the energy, the time that they will get it done. And basically every day it gives you all the tasks that you have to do that day, and then you can check them once you've done them. If you don't check them, then they stay there the next day, but they're in red, bright red, to be like, hey, you missed this yesterday and stuff. It's great. And you can assign like levels of priority, and you can add little tags. So for example, we have a pool tag for all the maintenance stuff, because also like there's a lot of maintenance involved when you have a pool. So that was something I was worried about, was the fact that we were already struggling to keep the house running and stuff, to look after ourselves. I was like, is it reasonable to add more stuff on our plates? This app makes it easier to manage all of that. And so it does feel like I have less on my plate. I know that like my partner will get notified every day about the things that need to be done, and I don't have to think about it and remind him. It's just been a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. So I'm very happy about that. I hope it stays that way. It's very satisfying checking things off. Like, a lot of people say, they love to do to-do lists and stuff like that, because they get that dopamine every time they check something off a list. I didn't really get that until I started using the Reminders app. Now I do get it. Something about it being like, okay, today you have to do this. You're not the one making the to-do list every day. It does it for you once you've entered all the tasks that you have to do, and how often you have to do them. then you don't have to worry about it again. Like, it keeps reminding you every day of you, every 2 days, every week, etc. And then you're like, okay, what do I have left to do today? Oh, I've got to water the garden. I've got to clean the cat's water fountain. Check it off, and then you're like, that's satisfying. I feel like I achieved something today. So that's been working right. I'm done, pretty much done replaying New Super Mario Bros. On the Nintendo Switch, which is sad. That was a lifeline for me these past couple of weeks. That was like the way that I would recharge. After something overstimulating or tiring, I would turn on the Switch, put in my earbuds, listen to some ASMR, and play some Mario, and that helped me so much. So I'm gonna have to find a new video game to play. Speaking of ASMR, I shared on my channel a playlist that I made using my other YouTube account, my personal YouTube account, not the one that I use for my channel. And it's basically a playlist of over 30 videos, ASMR videos, mostly from a Greek content creator who lives in South Korea. She is not autistic herself, but she is an autism special educator. I forget what the term is, but she has worked with autistic kids and things like that. She makes ASMR videos for autistic people, for people with ADHD, OCD, PTSD, anxiety, all that good stuff. Like, I'm not gonna say it's the most autism aware content out there. That's not the point. She clearly has good intentions, and it doesn't really matter because the content that she makes, the videos that she makes, are so freaking relaxing and so regulating for my nervous system. I'm not lying. I've been listening to this playlist on repeat every single day for weeks on the spot. It's like, it's been a lifesaver. Every time I'm playing video games, leaving the house, doing chores, at night in bed while I'm playing my Where's Wally, trying to fall asleep. Like, it's magical. I can't even describe it in any other way. Like, I have other ASMR playlists that I love, but this one is just, I have no words to describe it. I think what sets it apart is every ASMR artist is different. So they'll all have a different voice, different ways of doing ASMR, but also the fact that there's no direct eye contact, that there isn't anything that is triggering for a lot of autistic people, like mouth sounds and things like that. And she uses techniques that are known to be relaxing for autistic brains, and I don't know the science behind it. All I can say is that it definitely works on me and a lot of other autistic people in the comments. Things like humming. There's like a 1 hour long humming video with hand movements. Wonderful. There's also music therapy. So she uses musical instruments, repetitive patterns. That's also something that the autistic brain loves, because we love repetitive stuff, right? There's just a whole load of great things in this playlist. And I know that the autistic community tends to be very opinionated, and you have people who absolutely love ASMR and you have people who despise ASMR. And it's a very sensitive topic, and I can see that a lot of people, as soon as they hear the word ASMR, they're like, nope, it's not for me. It's the same thing with autism, you know, the expression, when you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. The same thing applies to the world of ASMR, right? If you've tried one ASMR video, you've tried one ASMR video. Every creator is unique. You've got so many different things. It's a community that's been thriving for like 15 years on YouTube, okay? I've been listening to it for over 10 years. It's a whole genre out there. There is stuff for literally everyone. Not everyone experiences ASMR, but I think you can still find content that is relaxing. Sometimes I feel like there's a little bit of resistance. Maybe people have a vague understanding of what it is and it makes them uncomfortable. There's nothing weird about it. There's nothing like, sometimes in the media it's made out to be this weird sexual thing. It's not. It is literally just autonomous sensory meridian response. It's a phenomenon that happens in the body when you hear certain sounds or you look at certain things that creates a very tingling, relaxing sensation in your head, down your back, your limbs. It presents differently in different people, but it's just a relaxation technique at the end of the day. There's nothing weird about it. It has changed my life, honestly. Sometimes it's the only thing that keeps me somewhat relaxed. And it's something that I've been using pretty much every day, like I said, for the last 10 years. And there are several autistic ASMR content creators on YouTube that I know of who make great content, because on top of being relaxing and helping you sleep and stuff like that, it also makes you feel very seen. There's this content creator who's autistic who includes stimming in all of her videos, for example, when she talks about meltdowns and sensory issues and a lot of things like that. And so on top of being relaxing, it makes you feel like you're not alone. It makes you feel like you're not weird. It creates a sense of belonging. That's what I wanted to say about that. So if you're interested in checking out this playlist that I talked about, it's, I think, one of the last posts that I made on my community tab. If you want to go check that out. It's not called the community tab anymore, whatever. It's one of the last posts that I made on my channel. On that note, I'm tired, so I'm gonna end this video now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.